Hello and welcome to another Brawl video. Today we're taking a look at a blue-white high toughness deck featuring Plagon, Lord of the Beach as our commander. This 3 mana 0/3 says when it enters we draw a card for each creature we control with toughness greater than its power, and then includes Plagon itself, and then we can pay a blue or white mana, and then a target creature we control assigns damage equal to its toughness rather than its power this turn, and we can activate this at instant speed. So our plan is simple: play lots of high toughness creatures. Now these are not defenders because Plagon does not remove the defender ability, so just high toughness creatures that can still attack, and then at some point play our commander, draw lots of cards, and then we also have a few flicker effects to re-trigger Plagon's enter the battlefield ability, draw even more cards, assemble more creatures, and at some point turn the team sideways. So now taking a look at our deck breakdown, our first category are those flicker effects, often 1 and 2 mana instants that can help re-trigger Plagon's ability, as well as maybe protect it from removal. And then we get to our high toughness creatures, lots of 1 and 2 drops. The 1 drops usually have 3 toughness or more, the 2 drops kind of start out at 4 toughness, but we have some 6 toughness ones as well. And then we've got even more creatures that synergize exceptionally well with Plagon that can deal lots of damage by themselves, as well as High Alert, which can basically replace Plagon's ability so we don't need to activate it over and over, as well as a few ways to make our creatures unblockable. And then we've got multiple sweepers that destroy creatures over a certain power, which is perfect in this deck since those are often going to be one-sided sweepers, not affecting any of our stuff. And then finally the miscellaneous section has a little bit more interaction. We have very few counter spells or spot removal. We're mostly relying on our sweepers to catch us back up, and then we've got some additional pump spells that can also dramatically increase toughness to maybe set up a kill out of nowhere. And then taking a look at our detailed breakdown, starting with our flicker effects. At 1 mana there's Cloud Shift as well as Essence Flux. Ephemerate also has Rebound, so that's the best one of them. And then at 2 mana there's Flicker of Fate. We also have Momentary Blink, which has Flashback, so that's a nice upgrade. And then Soul Herder can flicker 1 creature each turn. Restoration Angel can be flashed in, also has more toughness than power. And then quickly going over our creatures, we've got Ornithopter, which is free, Armadillo, Trailblazer, Market Gnome draws a card when it dies, Sentry, Shieldmate, then we've got the Yoked Ox, Turtle actually has 5 toughness, the Glistener Seer can scry, Hard Evidence makes a Crab token and a clue which can draw. Got the Secret Keeper, Shorecomber Crab, now an actual paper card as well through Jumpstart. Thriving Turtle can pick up a +1 counter, and then Excavator and Gargoyle. And then at 2 mana there's the Cleric, can destroy enchantments or exile a card from a graveyard. Beggar and 0/4 with Disturb. The Dismantler makes opposing artifacts enter tapped, can also be sacrificed to blow them up. Giant Ox, a 2 mana 0/6, similar to the Savants since there's no vehicles for us to crew in this deck. Serval, a 1/4 Vigilance, similar to the Nautilus, which also has an activated ability, which we're probably not going to use. Then we've got the Nyx Fleece Ram, 0/5, gaining a life. Sun Cleanser, good against opposing counters. Crab, another 0/5. Then we've got Corridor Monitor, potentially a reason to run some additional artifact lands to synergize with it, so we can untap them. We've got Fae of Wishes, 1/4 flying. The Shrine, an 0/4 flyer. Then there's the Ether Thief, which we can flash in as another 0/4. The Reality Chip can be reconfigured to provide card advantage. Thopterix, a way to protect our commander, giving it a ward 2. And then Ornithopter, actually pretty good since it also helps us ramp. And then there's a Specimen, which can be a land or maybe another flash creature that can also protect our commander. And then we've got a few ways to give our team evasion. Tetsuko, the best one, at 2 mana. And then Adelny also helps us re-trigger Plagon's ability a second time, so that can also help draw additional cards while making the team more evasive. And then High Alert means we don't have to pay the mana from Plagon, and just all our creatures now deal damage equal to their toughness rather than power. No defenders to really synergize with it, but we also wouldn't want them because they don't synergize with our commander. And finally, Carix has 17 toughness, and the Fear of Failed Tests, a 2/7, that can draw cards equal to the damage it deals, so it can potentially draw 7 cards if it connects. And then we've got our sweepers. Slaughter the Strong. Players can keep a total of 4 power worth of creatures and then sacrifice the rest. And then Battle of Bywater, Dusk to Dawn, as well as a Restricted Office will destroy creatures with power 3 or greater. Then we can also cast the Dawn half of Dusk to Dawn to get our creatures back out of the graveyard. And then both Fell the Mighty and Expel the Interlopers at 5 mana can often be a one-sided board wipe if the opponent doesn't have any 1 or 0 powered creatures on the battlefield. And then our miscellaneous section includes Giant Killer, can be spot removal, as well as another creature with toughness greater than power. Swords to Plowshares and Wash Away are kind of staple interactive spells for 1 mana. Then we've got Springleaf Drum, since we're playing so many creatures, can give us access to more mana, as well as Arcane Signet. And then our 2 pump spells, Ages of the Heavens and Refuse to Yield, giving 7 additional toughness at instant speed, so that can be 7 additional damage. And finally, a Fractured Identity, more great interaction. And then our mana base is pretty straightforward, lots of blue-white dual lands. The laboratory can also maybe pick up Plagon so we can replay it and draw more cards. We've got the channel lands for added interaction, Cavern of Souls to make our commander uncounterable, and that's pretty much it. I guess Reliquary Tower also finally made the cut, since this deck can draw enough cards where hand size becomes a concern, so we can actually take advantage of the unlimited hand size. So yeah, that's our deck. Now let's jump into some games and see how the deck does. Okay, we're on the draw, facing Wrenn and Realmbreaker. Our hand could use a 3rd land, so we can curve Sentry into Serval into our commander. Got pump spells, sweepers, and flicker, so yeah, just a land away basically from a good hand. Opponent does have a Haywire Might. Could maybe destroy our room, but not before we wipe the board with it. A Lanor Tribe is potentially quite scary. Plus 3 mana basically. So yeah, best I can do is just play my commander. And draw 3. And then discard to hand size. The specimen may not be super necessary. A Dryad's next. Survives our restricted office. And the Lotus Fields, sacking 2 lands. Okay. So this might just be another setup turn where we cast a couple more creatures, and then eventually can flicker Plagon to draw more, and then attack with a Serval in the meantime. Can deal 4, play Turtle and Dismantler. Opponent's got an Archroot's Charm. Could have taken out our commander too, but decides to search a land or creature. And it's going to be a Vorinclex, so they're trying to set up a Wrenn and Realmbreaker to immediately ultimate, basically. They've got a different Vorinclex first. So 6, they get to play an extra land. 7 plus 3. And now a Wild Guide is more mana. So your opponent seems to have enough mana where they can play Vorinclex and immediately play Wrenn and Realmbreaker, which is their plan. And can I stop that? If we restricted office, the tribe dies. And if 7, 8, 9 mana, they can still make that play. So then I may as well wait. Or we could use the Fractured Identity in the meantime. This could also transform, so there are a couple problems to deal with. Yeah, maybe we do still cast Restricted Office, and then I can Fractured Identity Vorinclex. Although with the emblem, they will be able to just get stuff back over and over. So yeah, it's not easy. For now... yeah, I think it's just Restricted Office. Go to attacks. And then no real point in pumping the turtle. So we can get in for 4 here. Alright, so next turn our opponent can still cast the Vorinclex into Wrenn and Realmbreaker. And Emblem. And then, yeah, Fractured Identity can exile Vorinclex. But I don't know if that's really gonna stop them long term. They get to play additional lands with a Dryad, so seeing the synergy with Lotus Fields. Opponent is at 20. So we can also maybe try and sneak in lethal with Ages of the Heavens. But for now I think it's still exile Vorinclex. Get our own copy. And then we can attack. Any point in attacking their Planeswalker? Probably not, since they can just let it go to the graveyard and then replay it. So we can go face, they can jump and replay the Dryad. And then that's it, I guess. Opponent says no blocks. So that's +5 damage. Opponent falls to 8, and then we can hope to steal a win with Aegis. Rumble finds a Tormod script, which they can infinitely sacrifice if they want to. I guess never mind, it enters tapped because of the Dismantler. Vorinclex find more forests. Replay the tribe. And animate a land. Nope. Alright, so what's my plan? Attack all out, hope one creature goes unblocked, and then Aegis it for the win. Pretty much. Could also flicker Plagon, but then I have one fewer attacker. Yeah, I can maybe play the Gargoyle still. Opponent blocked everything. They're thinking about it. So yeah, everything is blocked. These would trade. Opponent gets to replay Vorinclex. These can still activate as well. So yeah, I guess we Flicker of Fate now on Plagon. And we'll see what else we find. Because yeah, I can Aegis on Vorinclex, that's 7 damage, trampling over. Ooh, Swords to Plowshares. I guess they gain life equal to a creature's power. But yeah, that doesn't help in this case, because power and toughness is equal. And the rest doesn't have trample. Yeah, I guess we can let damage happen. And then try again next turn. We have Fell the Mighty, so that can be a one-sided board wipe. So that's the plan. Still have Swords to Plowshares up. Our opponent will have the mana to potentially transform Vorinclex, so I can exile it in response. We'll see. Alright, so they are going for it. Yeah, it's probably worth it to Swords, otherwise what happens? They mill 10, which gives them access to more cards with Wrenn, and to creatures on the battlefield. I mean, we're gonna wipe the board anyways, so maybe it's not a disaster. Because yeah, it's going to be a one-sided board wipe, only 0-powered creatures survive, which I guess includes the spawn token. But then I'll still have mana to... I guess, yeah, it would be nice to have one more land so we can both play Aegis and activate Plagon on an unblocked creature. So I would prefer to Ephemerate. So I think we let that resolve. Opponent did mill a lot of stuff, including Mindslaver. So with Mindslaver they could take infinite turns basically by sacking it over and over. Titan can gain them life, so that was not ideal. Makes a Rhino. And we'll see what happens. But yeah, we cannot let them untap, or else Mindslaver locks us out of the game. And a Gilded Goose is another creature that survives Fell the Mighty, actually. Opponent's gonna blow up our clue token, gain 2. And let's see what we can find. SS Flux. Draw some more. And now a Battle of Bywater. Not quite as one-sided a board wipe, but it is cheaper. Yeah, I guess I may as well rebound, since it's not like I need the additional attacker. And I guess we also drew Expel the Interlopers, so that's similar to Fell the Mighty. Alright, High Alert potentially saves me some mana. So what's the plan? So I need to wipe the board. My sweepers are Expel, Battle, and Fell the Mighty. Opponent has multiple blockers that survive Battle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to be exact. Which means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only one creature would be going through. I can still pump it with my Aegis. I guess I could Swords another token. But yeah, I don't think going for Fell the Mighty is gonna win me the game, since I would still have 2 blockers. And if I High Alert, I guess that's maybe the best we have. Fell the Mighty on 0. I guess I should have considered doing it on 1, because I do lose 2 of my creatures now too. But then we can still High Alert. That's not enough. If I attack all out and activate, I can Aegis. That's not enough either. So yeah, I think we're just Mindslaver locked now. Anything that exiles the graveyard, I guess Cleric does. Alright, so I can get rid of the Mindslaver at least. Alright, so we might still get another turn. And then we'll take out the spawn, sure. Alright, get to keep 7 cards. We're gonna keep some amount of sweepers. Gotta keep Swords and Aegis. And then, do we need anything else? High Alert can maybe be useful, and an Odawara. The Goose picking up counters actually helps with the Battle of Bywater. Opponent keeps milling.
Search past the walls of this realm.
So there's a lot of stuff they can get back. Start with the freebies. And Dryad play 2 lanes. Replay Titan. Destroys the Gargoyle. A Lenore Tribe. And then next turn is when they get to fight with a Grand Evolution. Tribe's gone. So currently, Battle of Bywater destroys everything except Dryad. So that seems decent. Then we can High Alert. Opponent's got 1 blocker. Block my turtle, get in for 7. Plus 7 is 14, plus 7, 21. Am I doing the math correctly? I think so. Alright, so that's kind of exciting. So, High Alert, battle. I guess we'll battle first. High Alert means all my creatures now can deal damage equal to toughness. Attack all out. And then Aegis to steal the game here, basically. Wow, did we actually get there? We did, awesome. Suppose we also could have swords the Dryad before attacking and get in a little bit more damage. But yeah, what a game. Wow, beating a Wrenn Ultimate and our opponent getting multiple turns. Almost getting Mindslaver locked, but finally realizing we had the answer. Awesome, on to the next one. Alright, we're on the draw, facing Uurg, black-green, lands in graveyard. Dusk to Dawn should be effective. Got 1-drop into 2-drop. And then Restoration Angel to flicker. Play Turtle, maybe. If it's a matchup with counter spells, there's maybe an argument for Hard Evidence first, so if they keep up a counter spell, we can just sack or clue that turn instead. Vine Lasher, pretty good with Landfall. And a quest. This one works with Landfall, pays 6 mana, although gets a reduction, so it can basically reanimate something. Okay. Play our flyer. And there's Uurg, already at 2-5. And then discard probably a fetch land here. Can still maybe surveil with the Marsh Flats. Enduring Tenacity. Can combo with a life gain from Uurg to maybe one-hit KOs. So it seems like a good turn for Dusk. So I'll cast that now. Although the Tenacity does return. And Uurg they can also replay. So it's only a temporary solution. It's gonna be an Analyst first. There's already quite a few lands in Graveyard. And a Soothsayer. Can block it with our 1/4, I guess. Delny can make our creatures mostly unblockable. And can also re-trigger Plagon, potentially. So let's see. I'm just realizing, because of Corridor Monitor, we should be playing the artifact lands, since we can untap them with it. Although sometimes can have its drawbacks when our opponent can destroy artifacts as well. So yeah, Delny. With a plan of next turn Restoration Angel to draw more. But I kind of need to find answers now. I guess we can attack with a turtle. Alright, we're tapped out. How many lands do we have in Graveyard? 4. They may still try and play Uurg and then sack the lands before activating the Analyst. With the quest they can also reanimate on the cheap. So there's a lot to consider. So there's Uurg. And then I guess our opponent does now have a Sanguine Bond to infinitely combo with the Enduring Tenacity. Although it's in the top 15, so might take them a while to find. For now it's going to be Restoration Angel, Plagon, and then draw a boatload of cards and hope for the best. Found Tetsuko to make our stuff unblockable. High Alert could help us get in without needing to pay 1 mana each time. So we do have a decent setup here. But it's gonna have to wait a turn before we can really enact our plan. So yeah, the plan would be High Alert plus Tetsuko, and then we can attack with all our creatures. But in the meantime, Uurg can sack 5 lands, which is 10 damage on the spot. Sack 2 Analysts. At least the lands enter tapped. So I don't think we're necessarily dead on board, although I guess there's Vine Lasher too. So yeah, it's very close to lethal. Either way, for now, can attack with a turtle. And if they can find their Sanguine Bond with a Surveil, we're also potentially dead, because they can just play it, sack a land, gain life, and combo off. Dina's also part of various life gain combo decks. Shifting Woodlands doesn't do much. Unless, let's see, is Dina infinite with Tenacity? Loses 1 life? No, it's the other way around. Veto is similar to the Tenacity. So they're a little bit short of fully comboing off. So I can afford to take 4. Let's see, is that true? Sack 3 lands, trigger veto. That's 6 plus 6 more from tenacity. So yeah, I have to block here. And then I guess I could double block with Resto Angel and Delny. And then does the quest change anything? Not really. Their opponent's gonna sack lands while they can. They're gonna be at 19. Can I deal 19 damage? Probably not. A little bit short. Although, I guess we do have the Refuse to Yield for 7 more damage. Opponent gets back Uurg. Alright, so I need to be able to play Tetsuko, make stuff unblockable, play High Alert to deal damage, and Refuse to Yield, and we should be able to do all of that. So everyone deals damage now, everyone's unblockable, attack, and then Refuse to Yield is 7 extra damage. So I think we got there. Wow. Super close game. Our opponent was just a turn away from comboing off in a multitude of ways. But yeah, Tetsuko plus Refuse to Yield to save the day. Awesome. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the play, facing Rocco. And our hand is maybe a little slow. Could use more cheap creatures to enable our commander in the first place. Yeah. Sure. Can surveil on 1. Play a 2-drop, and then 2-drop keep up Wash Away. Unless our opponent's got a 1-mana Accelerant, then we may need to keep up Wash Away already. And they do. Yeah, so I don't get to curve out here. Fractured Identity could eventually be a good card. Sure. So we'll just pass. Next turn I can 2-drop, keep up Wash Away. And a Spirit is fine. Artifacts entering tapped is also relevant. And an Innkeeper's Talent, so opponents potentially playing around a Wash Away. That's fine by me. Let's see, Slaughter the Strong does get around the Indestructible from Selfless Spirit as well, so that's important to keep in mind. For now, probably go for Nautilus. And then next turn we can play our commander with the Wash Away backup still. Challenger's fine. I guess they can trigger Valiant with the talents. And a Botanical Brawler, so more +1 counter synergy. Alright, so this Slaughter the Strong's gonna do a lot of work for us. For now we can also block. So just take 3 in the air. And level up the talent. So play our commander. Draw 3. Can still play a Yoked Ox. Champion of Lamphold, that one's scary, since it can make their team unblockable. Are we dead right now? Not quite, but yeah. Perfect against our strategy with 1 and 0 powered creatures. Now Kellen grows champion. So it's about time we slaughter the strong. They wouldn't be able to play Showdown at least. So can't block any of the opponent's creatures. Activating Plagon doesn't make a difference. And normally Selfless Spirit would be perfect to stop any of our board wipes. But this is kind of the exception. They're probably going to keep Champion of Lampholds, so I may need to Fractured Identity later. Alright, they got rid of the champion, keeps the flyers. Okay, so I guess next turn they could level up, put 2 counters on it, so that's hitting us for 5, so then I can't even fetch. Yeah, I guess we'll start attacking then. Gonna have to Fractured Identity the spirits, which also has Ward 1, so then I still need to potentially find an untapped land here, because again, if I fetch, I might be dead if their line is Innkeeper's Talents. Finally get to counter it. I'm sure our opponent's not surprised. So at least I didn't level up the talent this turn. And the Woodland Champion's next. So now we can afford to fetch. Exile the spirits. Although we're also maybe threatening lethal with what we have in play. Alright, so let's say we go to attackers, send in everyone. Opponent has to jump with both of their creatures. I take out the champion. Although I guess the goose is lethal with the Innkeeper's Talent if they level it up again, because that's 2 counters. If I Fractured Identity, I don't have the mana to get in for damage. So yeah, kind of an interesting spot. Start by attacking. Yeah, if I don't send in Plagon, then they can get away with jumping with a single creature, and I think we want to get rid of potentially the champion as opposed to the goose. Although maybe the goose is more threatening here. So this way we force them to block with a goose. And those seem like good blocks, because now I don't get any free damage with Nautilus. Could also activate the Nautilus to be fair, but this is cheaper. My opponent's gonna sack the spirits. That's somewhat surprising, but sure. So I guess their plan is to win with a goose. So now I have to Fractured Identity it. Or we can get rid of the talent, and maybe it makes more sense. And then I could still play creature out and our opponent scoops it up. Awesome, on to the next one. Okay, we're on the play, facing Eutropia. So a blue-green Constellation deck. Our hand seems fine. Turtle into Savants. Draw with Plagon. Flicker, flicker, draw, draw. Hopefully find more creatures. Take it from there. Our opponent might be going all in on one creature with Eutropia. For now, a commune. Can find an enchantment or a land. Finds a 1/1 enchantment creature with Death Touch. Actually not bad in this matchup, since it can trade for what's essentially a 6/6. Alright, do we want to play our commander when they could have a counterspell like Wash Away? Could wait another turn and then I can play Plagon with Essence Flux as backup. And then now the Excavator potentially also an answer, although an expensive one, for like a Fang of Shigeki. Conundrum's fine, could maybe slow down some fetch lands, but we're not ramping. Alright, I'll play my commander. If they counter it, can still try again next turn. And there's the Wash Away, it seems. Strix Serenade instead. Alright, at least still get a 2/2 out of it. Back to the command zone. Yeah, we can't do much until we get our commander in play. Alpha Authority, so that's the creature they're gonna try and protect and put counters onto. And a Blessing can now fight. Could flicker with Essence Flux. Yeah, that might be worth it actually. Means we'll draw an extra card in the future. And we still have a Flicker of Fate. So now the coast is clear for Plagon, drew another Flicker effect. And High Alert can save us mana in the long term. They do have a window to maybe fire off another fight spell. Unable to scream. Alright, not a problem, since we can again just flicker it and then remove the enchantment. And this turn we're looking at High Alert, maybe a Reality Chip, and then flicker. And attack with everyone. Still play Ornithopter. Opponent falls to 1. So they need something pretty good. Stormdrake, another way to mess with our commander, stealing it. But with High Alerts we have basically another way to deal damage equal to toughness. And our opponent scoops it up, taking 1 damage of their own mana confluence. Sweet, on to the next one. Okay, we're on the play, facing Old Stickfingers, often a Reanimator combo deck. Think we need a slightly faster start. Got a 1-drop and that's it, although Expel could be good if we can get to 5 mana. But that's gonna be a while. Yeah, I think we mulligan again. This is better. Although Beach enters tapped, so I can't play Secret Keeper right away. Although it might still be better long-term than one of these other creatures. So we can curve 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop commander, draw, and then have a 1-drop to follow up with. Alright, Thoughtseize has a look. Takes a Secret Keeper. Alright. I guess now I could also go tap land plus Trailblazer, but this is more mana efficient. Jet Medallion to discount black spells. And we found a board wipe. So we'll draw 3. And then next turn we could start attacking. The refuse to yield is plus 7 damage potentially. For now, Stickfingers, Milling, Titan, and Gearhulk. So I'm sure they can reanimate those. Alright, so can attack all out. And then activates, taking out Stickfingers. Could activate on Beggar and then cast Refuse to Yield to get in for 11. Or we can deploy a few more creatures out, so that when we eventually have to replay our commander, it's going to be a bit more impactful. Although the Ram is an enchantment if they choose to go for the Titan. But Titan doesn't blow up our commander. So they're probably gonna reanimate Gearhulk. Opponent passes instead. Alright, I'll go to attackers. And then we can activate. They're gonna cut down the Beggar. Could refuse to yield in response. And then activate on the Ram. Opponent falls to 6. And we still have a one-sided board wipe in hand, potentially. And our opponent scoops it up. Awesome. On to the next one. Alright, we're on the draw, facing Tinybones, a discard deck. Well, if things go according to plan, we will always have a full hand that the opponent can make us discard. But that also helps when our opponent's trying to get us low on resources. Hang on to Ornithopter until we're ready to play our commander. For now, play our Ornithopter. Playing Ornithopter also reasonable if we suspect a targeted discard spell. Opponent's gonna just Bitter Triumph the other one. So yeah, we could already go Ornithopter, Plagon, draw 3. Could wait another turn. And then now there's nothing worth discarding in hand. Shieldreds can take out one of our creatures. Alright, so draw 3. Unless we find another 1-drop here. Yeah, that works. So draw 4. And then Cloud Shift is potentially even more cards. We'll see if they remove it right away. In which case we could still replay it next turn. Although it's better if we can cast it with Cloud Shift backup. For now, take 4. Opponent reconsiders. And a Warlock is just a random discard here. Probably don't need Cavern in this matchup. Okay, so play Springleaf, Nautilus, tapping, probably our commander. And then activate on the flyer. So we've got a clock. And then if we think the coast is clear, we can cloud shift Plagon. Can also channel Iganjo since we control a legend. I guess one reason not to discard Cavern is if our opponent makes their stuff uncounterable and we happen to draw one of our few counter spells, but we don't have many, so it's not a huge concern. Waker of the Dead. Okay.
This battle is going
It's gonna discard. Can get rid of a fetch land that they wouldn't be able to use.
You think too much.
Unless there's an Urborg in play, turning lands into swamps, I guess. And then 1 card left in hands. Yeah, it would be painful if I cloud shift and they remove a response, but it kind of feels like they don't have anything left. Wash away. I guess it's good insurance, although again there's a Cavern interaction. So what do we think our opponent's holding? Because it did hold priority briefly. So maybe I'll just go to my draw step for now, and then we can counter any potential removal spell as well. For now, can pressure Liliana with our flyer. Probably no great other attacks. Unless we're willing to channel Iganjo to get rid of Shieldreds. They need 8 or more cards in their graveyard, so that's not happening anytime soon. Alright, I'll go for it now. And could also consider scrying in response here. But nope, our opponent's just gonna scoop it up, draw 5, and then we have a counter spell up, so we're gonna quickly overwhelm the opponent. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the play, facing Yarok the Desecrated. This hand is a little slow. I do like Wash Away as an answer, but we don't have anything to play in the first 2 turns of the game to set up our commander. Alright, this is a bit better. Do need to hit an extra land drop or 2. And then Giant Killer destroys power 4 or greater, so it doesn't take out their commander. They'll just play it on turn 1. Otherwise I could have fetched a tapped Surveil land to maybe find a land number 3. And we found it. This hits a bit harder. And then I'm not opposed to just drawing 3 cards next turn. Opponent is keeping up mana. So if they have a counter spell, we can maybe wait. Did not seem like they had anything, any reason to mill them out, don't think so. Can I mill myself? I guess I could have milled myself to maybe set up the Dawn half of Dusk Dawn. Reclamation Sage can blow up my enchantment. Alright, I do need to hit my line drop for turn. And then can attack and hit for 6. Ideally would have played it with Flicker of Fate available. In case they remove it, we get to just draw a response. Opponent's got a Risen Reef, pretty good with their commander here, also an elemental. Okay, so this turn, if I play Tetsuko, yeah, we're potentially attacking for 11 unblockable damage. Okay, maybe save that as a surprise for next turn. And for right now, play the drum. Play a Giant Ox. Can just attack with Savants. Hit you for 6, and then keep up Flicker / Giant Killer. And then next turn with Tetsuko, we can hit them for 12 with just our 2 creatures. Alright, and that'll do it. So we got to see our blue-white Plagon toughness deck in action. And yeah, the deck's a lot of fun to play. Pretty straightforward plan. Just play lots of creatures, draw lots of cards, and then sooner or later you'll assemble a lethal attack. So yeah, that's gonna do it for today's gameplay. Wanna thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and as always, have a nice day.